start asking, what's this guy they see? Thank you very much, sir. We have precious generations step in shortly. But talking about connections, one thing I believe is connections exist. Connections exist regardless of the medium. But connection is something we do intentionally. And coming to the context of parenting, we can have children at home in our houses. How many of us are parents? Greater. Okay, greater percentage of us are parents. I want to ask. Yeah. If I tell you statistically that children are more disconnected in the home and more connected online, would you agree with me?
Yes.
The statistics.
Yes.
Yeah, the statistics for that. So even your child that you are locking this away from, statistics says that 9 out of every 10 child that is kept away from the phone accesses the internet outside the home. So this next generation, which we call the digital native, are by default. So let me explain that. When we say digital native, they were born through the computer, for lack of words. Now, when we were born, the computer was a big deal. I remember how important it was for me to see and touch the computer. Please, as said she was going to walk in shortly, help me celebrate my sister, a table shaker, table breaker, who doesn't care whether the table is broken or will be repaired afterwards. Just help me celebrate Precious and John. Thank you very much. Now, see the beautiful, let me digress a little. See the beautiful thing about life. There are people who are willing to share more than those who are willing to learn. So you see, the challenge is not even the availability or access to information. It's the willingness to engage available information and then use it to implement it. So as I was saying, when we were born, Game box, which is game box? Great. Right. Awesome. So we grew up doing all that, right? So that was life. If at all we had the opportunity to access media, TV would start by 4 p.m. True or true? True. Yes, and you know that the task is given to you. The first thing you want to do is probably think it through. True or true? True. But you give this same task, and I'm going to give an example of myself. Give this same task to a child. What does the child do? What's the first thing he does? What's the first thing he does? He Googles it. Or he uses DeepSeek or ChatGPT. And like my son told me, I gave him, I said, I wanted to research something from him. I just took my phone. And he was, what is the meaning of? I'm like, why are you talking? Why don't you type it? I said, if you type it, you learn the spelling. He said, if I talk it, you spell it right. So you see the difference now. Thinking. One day after church, I went to the POS, and there was a queue. And he said, why are we waiting? I said, I want to collect some money. He said, why wait when you can transfer? I was like, ooh. This guy is giving me some jabs. But I'm his father, I should know better, right? But because sometimes we are overwhelmed with our reality, we don't even think about how technology has modified our lifestyles. So, what we do with this conversation is to help us, one, as parents, adapt rightly to how to use technology to raise our children without losing them. Our children, because of technology, has given them access cross borders to cultures, to value systems that are far away from us, first as African, has given them more exposure to experiences and information that many of us are oblivious of. People probably will only hear when there is a breaking news. Has also exposed them to a world of danger and harm filled with predators and all that. And many of us lack an understanding how these people operate and how it affects our children. Many of us, because of our work, and sometimes we have to use digital devices. We know at a point we use glasses and all that, but we do not know how it affects this psychology of the child. So with this conversation, we want to help us understand that. We want to help us connect better. We want to help us raise children who can use devices rightly without losing themselves. We want to raise children who are responsible, productive online. That's how we started the digital parenting workshop. We want to ensure that with you as the right parent, your child can use technology and then change the world eventually. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to our third digital parenting workshop. My name is TJ Chidu, and I'll be your host for today. This is the best way to clap. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into our sessions, and like I said, please feel free. It's a warm learning environment. We have, for those of you following online, you're going to miss certain things, but I want to also welcome you to today's session. Please ensure we'll try as much as possible to follow the comments online and take questions as they come. But do not allow anything to distract you, because facilitators are ready to drop it hot as it comes today. So, are we ready to learn?
Yes, sir.
Come on, give me a great yes. Are we ready to learn?
Yes,
So, we're going to do it as parents. We can play. It's a long thing. I want to do one of the things I do as a teens coach. I do with teenagers, so I need you to respond. So when I ask, are you ready? Don't just give me a yes. You give me a yes, so like that. So we're going to make it take a trajectory with our yes. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Hi. You may find you have pain with your child at home. I'm suspecting you guys. That's why they don't run mommy and dad. And that's why they run to the devices, because they want something that excites them. And then as parents, you cannot be less of that. So let me ask again. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Our children deserve the best of us. And you know, when somebody comes to your house and does a great job in your house, what do you tell the person? Well done, right? Somebody fixes your door that you've been struggling with, or your car. You tell the person what? Well done. Over the years, many of us have been raising fantastic children, but nobody tells us well done for being great parents. So right now, I want you to tap your shoulder and tell yourself well done.
Protocols, right? And stand on it. Thank you. My name is Imoahe, but I like to be called Aaron and Elia's mom. And I'm just thinking now why I didn't bring them, because yeah, they should have been here. Just didn't occur to me to do that. I asked TJ, what am I going to say? He said, do your thing. I'm like, okay, what's my thing that I have to do? But I'm going to talk about parenting from my own experience. I'm raising a 12-year-old, going on 50, and my daughter will be 11, but she's already going on 40. My children are incredibly wise. I remember the first time my son asked me if the belief in God is a delusion. He was 5. And I said, why? He said, no, that because he has a lot of imaginary friends, and he's thinking the first person who came up with the concept has other imaginary friends as well. So is it possible that it's their imaginary friends they decided to talk about? And it was 5. So you can imagine my confusion. And he asked this question innocently. Yesterday we went for a 2-hour walk. My son is a philosopher. And in that 2 hours work, because he's so introverted, you don't know what's in his head. His sister is introverted. Those of us who have introverted children, it's almost easier because they will tell you. The one that is the introvert is the one that you never know. You have to generate conversations, you have to keep bringing it out. And he's an artist, he draws. He's very curious about the multiverse, the universe. There's nothing this boy has done. In fact, I remember when we were in Lagos, we would stand on our balcony trying to see Jupiter because my son was so convinced that we could see the planets from here if we pay attention. But tell me, Mommy, we are too distracted. So imagine when you have a child that you almost do not understand. I like to think of myself as a philosopher of sorts, but mine didn't get to that level. I came into it later in life. This one was almost born into questioning. What do you do? I've had these teachers come back to tell me. I remember one time they gave them a project in school. It was to do a football pitch. And when we got to school, they didn't tell me what the project was that they had given them. But what we had to do, the materials I had to get, I was so confused. What kind of teacher would give children this kind of complex thing? My son said we should do a fantasy football pitch. Imagine that there's life in Mars and let's create something. I was like, eh? A Nigerian teacher came up with this thing. He said yes. By the time we got to school and other children were bringing out their own projects, it was different from our own. So I knew that it's my son that gave himself this assignment. I said everybody with a normal football pitch. We had ours very different. We drew aliens. We had So I told him to carry it. He was not like, Mommy, carry it. No, so no. You carry your cross in this family. This thing that you have produced, you will carry it. So he carried it. I followed him. And then we got to the teacher said, wow. What did you do, Aaron? And he said, yeah, it just felt like it would be boring that the last year he spoke with some of his seniors and he said that's the same project that they've been doing. So he wanted to do something different. And then the teacher said, you should have told me, giving me feedback. But the teacher was happy, and luckily for us, he got top marks for thinking, which is something that I appreciated. I say all of this to say that we are raising children, and I want to tie it back to digital, in a time that is so unprecedented. How do you do it? I heard about the dark web from my son. I didn't hear it as an adult. It was my son who told me, you know why? I have Google, I have parenting device, I have done all sorts. If you're going to watch anything, you know how we always say you have to be in control and everything. So my son called me one day and he said, Mom, we're friends, right? I said, no, I'm your parents. He said, well, boy, you're a cool mom. I said, yeah, I like to think so. He said, okay. Mommy, in school today, we created 5 different email accounts. I said, what? With whose whatever? He said, one senior. So if he wanted to go on YouTube or whatever, he's got 5 different emails that he can use without any parenting thing. I just got up. He said, Mommy, please sit down. Because my son talks very gently. He's a very gentle boy. He said, Mommy, sit down, please. I want to talk to you. There's a lot that happens on the internet that you don't even know about. I said, yeah. Do you know about the dark web? I was shaking. I managed to contain myself in the 2 hours of the conversation that we were having. And I said, Mommy, this is what he prefers that we do. I said, what do you prefer that we do? He said, he would prefer that I trust him. I wish I brought him here. He said, you know why, Mommy? He said he's noticed he's better at gadgets than myself. He takes that one from his father. Me, honestly, as long as it's a phone, he can talk, we can put WhatsApp, I'm good. I'm not trying to do software engineering, I'm not trying to reinvent anything. But my son is trying to make apps, make games, do stuff. I don't know it. So how do I police a thing that I do not know? That's what I'm saying. It's very different. In our parents' time, they knew it. You know, when my mom says don't leave the house, she can see you, don't leave the house, go and read your book, she knows. But we live in a generation where book is also here. So when you say go and read your book, it's not only a physical book. So how do you know they are reading their book when they are on their devices or they are doing something else? They have educate online. So if they tell me that, oh, Mommy, I need to, because I have screen time, I have, you get only 2 hours weekend, blah, blah. But they have assignments now on educate. And sometimes they finish their assignment and they switch into something else. How do you police it? So I'm going to talk about trust. One of the things that I've learned from just being a mother to 2 children is you need to trust. You need to really, really deposit on trust. I hear a lot of parents saying that, oh, I have this, I have that. Let me tell you something. Of all my friends, I think I got into the having a boyfriend thing very late. I was in my final year. You know why? I was raised by parents where the first time that I had to go to a party, I organized our after-school party in my school, very proud of that. I went to an all-girls school. I had a pen pal club that was a little bit under the ground because I was adding boys to it, and we didn't have boys in my school. I was adding boys from Igbonelia and other schools. And we organized the first after-school party for, obviously, girls and boys. Guess who drove me there? My father. My dad took me there, shook everybody's hands. So how are you children and everything? What do you think happened during that party? Nobody wanted to dance with me. At all, nobody. Everybody left me in one corner. Because my father came and greeted all of them. Oh, how are you? How are your parents? Oh, this one knows that. Oh, I know your father is in so. How is he? Is he back from Lagos? Nobody touched me. And there were all sorts of things happening at that party. People kissed, people did all sorts. Nobody touched me. My father came back to pick me, shook all their hands and all. My dad would say, if a guy is talking to you, let him come. My very first boyfriend used to come to our house. He used to go and buy gas for my mom. My mom said, how now? Oh yeah, the gas has finished. You have to contribute to this family. Carry it, go to so place. The guy will come, he will carry it, he will go. What do you think happened in that relationship? There was nothing he could do to me that will hurt my parents. Because my parents stepped in. My parents know all my friends till tomorrow. I was in England as an adult doing my master's. Like, we went for a party in Dundee from Scotland, right? Sorry, from Aberdeen. Both are in Scotland. We went for a party. Do you know, on my way to my party, I called my parents in Nigeria to say hello, called me to say, oh, now we're going to Dundee and this is what we're going for. I told my parents as an adult. I didn't have to. But I knew that if I'm going from one town to another, they need to know. So I called them and I said, and my mom said, this one people are going to party like this. When are you coming back? I said, Mommy, it's a 2-day thing. She said, okay, I'm praying for me. I know they pray for you for that kind of thing. If you wanted to go there, people are doing drugs, you won't do it. Because there's something that it does to you. So I want to really, really hammer on trust. And me, in terms of the way I was raised and the outcomes that my parents got, I told myself that with my children, I am going to foster trust. I'm going to foster trust because you just don't know what it is that goes on. I'm going to go a little bit deeper now. Recently, one of my daughters met another person's daughter. I'm not going to, go into all that details. And came back to me to say, and when I say my daughters, I mentor a lot of children. And came back to me to say, the other little girl asked her to be her girlfriend. These are Nigerian kids. They're both young, 10 years old. I was like, oh, she wants to be friends with you, no big deal. She said, no, she said, girlfriend, like, we will be kissing. I was like, wow, at 10. But you see, that child didn't trust me enough to tell me. She didn't tell her own parents. And I needed to have a conversation with the parents over that. She didn't tell her own parents. There's so many, if you study the nature of abuse, if you study what all of these people do, they are very comfortable with children that are unparented. Nobody used to come near me. My mom was always there, you don't understand. So it's like bad market. I grew up, and then my friends were telling me about some people that abused them as kids, and that those people were in my life. But nobody would, because I had a relationship with my parents, and my parents will believe me. Some of us don't believe our children. They tell you something, you don't believe them. My parents will believe me. So in the time that I have, so many things I can talk about. I'm sure there'll be other more technologically savvy people that will tell you all the apps to use to police your children online. But for me, that's exhausting. I run a very busy schedule. If we are not able to establish trust, I don't want my kids spending so much time looking for creative ways to break the rules. So yes, I have those rules, but there's trust in our relationship. I'll close by saying, when I was younger, I also had a very strict uncle. Very strict. Had dogs in his house. Boys were not allowed. If you tried, he would be boasting about it. And I remember when he used to boast, he would talk to my parents that nobody can ever come close to his children. All his children were having sex in his house. I had children here. Really? Okay. All of them were doing what they were not supposed to be doing, with all the dogs and all. When he goes to work, The children will pack the dogs into one cage, do what they have to do, release the dog for when daddy comes. These are very uncomfortable conversations to have, and I'm happy I'm talking to Africans. TJ said something and said, "Oh, I like to consider myself a truth teller." The challenge with this part of the world is sometimes truth is kind of like unpalatable. We don't like truth. We want to cover it, and it's happening and it's there. I saw online there's a porn site. Again, I'm talking to adults, so you know what that is. Nigeria happens to, according to the statistics, to be one of the highest consumers of all the kinky stuff, the abnormal stuff. But you know, when you come out and you have these conversations, you don't find the Nigerians that are doing it. It's nobody's doing it. But this data is showing that we are spending time there. So what are the people doing it? And what is tragic is some of the people spending time there are children who have no business spending time there. So we need to obviously police what they do online, but we need to have conversations. Your children need to feel comfortable with you as a parent, whether you're mom or dad, to be able to come and say, this is what's going on. Some of these things are difficult to hear. I'm not saying that it's easy. Sometimes when my children come with a very difficult thing, I'm fighting internally. And I'm asking myself, at this age, I couldn't even dare talk to my parent. I'm not just be slapped, you beat it out. I was 16, I was telling her recently, a boy asked me out, and I went to tell my mother. My mother said, okay, but all of us went to a family thing. And the next day, when everybody had gone, she carried me to the bathroom, pulled her slippers and forced me. But I'm the one that came to tell you. And then I get beat for telling you that a guy is talking to me. Do you get? What do you think will happen the next time that a guy talks to me? I won't tell you, I have to protect. So I came to tell you to get advice. And she always uses that now when she's talking to parents to say, that beating was not necessary.
We're going to sit down now, but we're going to ask some questions. So please just note the questions, what the questions are. But when you were talking, I started asking myself, growing up, when you were growing up, your father showed all that trust. But if you were to be in this time, because you were born in this time, and then would your father trust you with his phone as much as he could trust you with boys and parties? Because then he can easily shake them. But here, how does he shake them? Online and all that. I don't want to give you a quick answer to that.
I'm happy to say, so it's the same principle. I know that my children are not going to do certain things, not because they ask me all sorts of questions. My son has asked me questions like, why don't people give birth when they're 21? Like, why can't I get married when I'm 18? For example, I'm now an adult. So we talk about the economics of it. I'm like, there's nothing wrong. When you're an adult, you can start to produce children, right? However, there's cost to it. Look at how much I'm spending to take care of you. There's emotional maturity. I always prefer to handle issues from the roots than symptoms. If I cannot show, it's almost like being in a relationship where you have to be looking at the man's phone. That is, there's no need, if you're already having to check your partner's phone when they are not there and there's no trust, then you're in the wrong relationship. So I don't think that, even if my father was raised, and now he has grandchildren, and he's a very active person in his grandchildren's life, he will ask them. My son is a manga artist. Anybody who follows anime will know what that is. So he draws very well. So he has like an anime series that he's writing. My dad doesn't know what that is, doesn't know why his art is, because if you look at anime, some of them are a little bit scary and stuff. So my dad will ask him, even when he's doing it with his dad, what is this? Explain it to me. Trying to build that connection with the boy, and he will explain that this is what I'm doing. I believe very strongly in trust. If you cannot build trust with your children, the best you will get is they will manage you whilst they are still at home, and the minute they are out of your sight, they will do things, and we don't want children that will bring us on the internet for the wrong reasons. So please, 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 build trust with the children. This is not the generation to just be flogging them. If you have generational alphas, like I do, they think. The better children, the alpha, because they're digital native. They're living in an AI world. Do you know how crazy that is? In my time, if I want to write an essay, You go, you sit down, you think about it. These days, they just put it in ChatGPT, write this, and it produces. So children in this form and work. You have to engage them. You have to know how their mind works. You have to connect with them, and they're on their own. Because what's important for me is, what does my child do when I'm not there? It's not all the things that you do. Any child can be conditioned when you're there. A friend of mine said to me, I don't know, when my children were first came to Benin, they were in the school, and my friend's child was there. And the children were going to do something at the back. My daughter didn't go. So my friend was saying that her child now asked her not see them or whatever. They just wanted to go and pluck flowers when they were supposed to be in class. And my daughter said, I don't want to hurt my mommy. My friend took that and told me. And she said, how did you get it to happen like that, where your child was, I don't want to hurt my parents. That's the truth. There are certain things that I would do, but if I think about Mr. and Mrs. Obomo, the love and the dedication and the things they put in my life, God, I don't want to hurt my parents. I am 40 years old and I still do not want to. I still want to make my parents proud. And I'm 40. And that's what I want for me, and that's what I want for you.
Thank you very much. Trust is the currency that builds relationships, and it's something we cannot not do without. Interestingly, I think one of the reasons that a lot of us, there are many reasons. One of the reasons a lot of us don't know how to trust is because we've never really experienced trust. And then a lot of us see, we're looking at the world with this eye, this suspicion eye. Everything is framed and formed to do something evil. I don't know who gave us that mindset. So let me ask you a question. If you get into your kitchen and you see a knife, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Sorry? Meat. So cut meat, right? Because you want to eat. But nobody at that point is thinking that the knife wants to hurt you. Are you thinking the knife wants to hurt you? Or can the knife hurt you? Is the knife used as a tool to hurt others? Yes, but when you sit in the kitchen, you don't think, because one environment, the place you find it, you build the trust. What's the environment? Are your children seeing the knife in the kitchen as a tool that will hurt them, or something to prepare beautiful meat for them? So thank you again, Precious, for reminding us the trust. If your child, and this is what somebody will easily say, God forbid, when you have a daughter that's a teenager and comes to tell you, I'm pregnant, what will your response be? I know your mind is the same, God forbid. That's the first thing you're thinking. And that's already a problem. And it shows that first you cannot accept truth, and then you're not even prepared to handle life as it comes in these shades. Nobody's praying for anything evil. But let me ask each and every one of you parents, how many of your life has been perfect from day one to now? That's one. Let me say you're doing very well. But how many of you have had a life that you did very well, and no bad thing happened to you? And you try to explain it where people didn't believe. It happens, right? So we need to give benefits of doubt while we put in place the right measures to do that. I'm talking about the right measures. Our next speaker will be talking about certain things that we can do to ensure that we create our home to be safe enough, so that while we are trusting our children, we are not just letting our gates open. There's the popular verse in the Bible that says, when the hedge is broken, the serpent bites. If you don't want mosquito, close the net, right? So he'll be talking about how to ensure that we are safe online with our children, what we need to do. And this is one, after this we'll have a Q&A for both him and Precious, but this is one session where you want to now learn what's happening on my phone. But let me ask you a question. How many of you know that with your phone like this, somebody can be watching you? How many of you know that with your phone, somebody can be watching and recording everything you do? Yes. Oh, mommy, you're shocked to hear that. That what is in your phone is not secret. Yeah. That's how one day you wake up and your WhatsApp, at least that's the top level, just the surface. You wake up and your WhatsApp is gone, or your Facebook is gone. That's surface level. But some of the apps you are installing these apps, you see permission to use your camera. What you're saying is, my privacy is gone. my this is gone. That's what you're doing. He'll tell us a little more. But please, before he comes out, help me appreciate the presence of my big sister, my coach in Benin as well, Dr. Shola Okubolo. Please, can you help me celebrate this powerful woman? With that same hand, please be generous as we make welcome my brother, our fellow engineer, Apple, at the moment. Please clap for him to the thumbs up.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Nice to be here this cool morning. I've been introduced, I don't need to do that, and I'm standing on existing protocol, like dear Sister Precious established. Okay, so I'm going to be dealing with cybersecurity and privacy. I'm going to look at it from preventive perspective. Now, it's true, 100% true. Interestingly, when I was sitting there and Precious was speaking, I was 100% a participant. I was just downloading what she was saying. But that trust factor is very important. So you cannot take it away, because sure, the matter is that a lot of our kids these days are really smart. So when you put one high jump, they'll find a way to navigate it. They always do. So I'm a tech guy, so I go the extra mile in my house to put a lot of IT things in place. Some people might not go that far, but I'm going to run us through some things that we can do that will help. It will really help, that's the truth. Because sometimes we should know that innocently, our children are exposed to things that they did not solicit. In my house, for example, if you come into my house and use my Wi-Fi, the experience is different. Why is it different? Because you're not going to see art. You're not going to see some kind of things pop up. When you're going on Google and do your searches, the things that you will see. In fact, when you go out and do a search, you'll be wondering what's going on in this guy's house. So those things are filtered at the source. That's what I do. Some people cannot get that far, but it's important that we know what we can do. Okay, now I'm going to talk about a story. I think it was just before COVID. It was online. There was this couple that came online and talked about an experience that they had. Maybe it may have been content, I don't know, but I know from a technical standpoint it's true, it's possible. Now, went back to the gaming site and started playing the game. I played the game for hours. The ad didn't come. Now the ad that came where when it was the woman's turn was educational art. When it was the man's turn, it was agricultural art. No art came, and the art that they saw were pictures, not videos. So the man now thought, okay, what's going on here? So with his own phone and the daughter's face, now put it over the camera. Maybe he did that, the video came out. Now it wasn't inappropriate, but it was a video that came out. And he couldn't skip that video. So in other words, it changed the algorithm that it was using to select who should display what to. So it was shocking. It was shocking. Now the next morning, well that appropriate didn't come out. The next morning, they now had the daughter hold the device. As she held the device, the ad came out. Now, this is not to scare anybody, because the matter is that there's the online world, there's the offline world, and we are living in both of them, whether we like it or not. So it's just a situation where the way our parents will take steps to ensuring that we succeed in the offline world is the same way we should take steps to ensuring our children succeed in the online world. Now, this is from me, it's my thought. I'm thinking that we are actually at the Stone Age. Probably we're going to do a series on this. We're going to do a series on this future. We're actually in the Stone Age of the digital world. As beautiful as it is, as interesting as it is, we're in the Stone Age. Because it's evolving. It was just in the 70s that computers came. Just the 70s here. Just barely 50 years or something like that. Now, and see where we are. Imagine what it's going to be 10 years from now. What it's going to be 20 years from now. Or 100 years from now. So we are actually in the Stone Age. That is the truth. It's going to so develop that we won't recognize what we are seeing now in the future. What does that mean? How does that apply to our living as families? But this is a family-centered program as families. Now, you will understand that we all here are the pioneers of building the internet. That is the truth. It's not just Microsoft, just Google, and it's not just them. All of us here. Because what we do, feedback that we give, everything contributes to that future state of the internet. We continue to refine and refine and refine. And if you are following tech, you will know that our devices have become so stable. Because in just like 5-10 years ago, phones were crashing, you have to restart over and over again. You can have your phone on if it's charged every time. For a whole year now, it's not going to crash. So things are really getting more stable. So this is from a feedback system. Feedback, users give feedback. So we are all contributing. At some point in the distant future, the generations then will talk about what we did, the steps that we took to ensure that we're going to get there. We're going to get there. The reason why I'm saying we're going to get there, to that point where it is trustworthy, it is safe, we're going to get there. You know why? Because the internet and the AI that is causing a lot of distrust is still the AI that will cause a lot of trust. Because we're talking about deep fake. This is a digression actually. We're talking about deep fake and all those many things. And we are worried about it. And it's okay to worry about it. But it's the same AI that will be able to filter out what is deep fake from what is real. Because at the end of the day, it's been always a battle between the good and the evil. That is the truth. Just the way it is in the offline world, you have bad guys, you have good guys, you have ugly guys, the same way you have in the online world. Interestingly, it is enhanced in the online world because someone can sit back in any country in the world, even in Nigeria. You can be all the way in Lagos or somewhere and come right into a computer in this place and shut down this thing. I mean, you can't do it easily like that in the offline world. Somebody will need to physically go there. So what I'm saying is that in the online world is enhanced. It's seriously enhanced. Now, let me go to the thing that actually brought me. Just share my own thoughts about some issues there. Okay, now, there are some facts I want to share. This is from UNICEF, United Nations Children's Fund. There's the Statistica and the Pew Research Center. Now it says 1 in every 3 children report being exposed to inappropriate content online. I should also say that a lot of times it's no fault of theirs. They did not search it out. It just came. Just like the story I opened with. Now, 72% of parents feel ill-equipped to manage their children's online safety. This is expected because IT and technology is mysterious to a lot of people. That is the truth. They don't want to label their brain and want to even think about it. It's mysterious. That is why a lot of parents feel ill-equipped. 60% of families do not use any parental controls. Now, this is for mostly the developed countries. 53% of children aged 8 to 12 own a smartphone. So I'm just giving you a background of how it looks like. Now, let me go straight into it. Now, one of the things that I'm going to try to achieve here is to be able to get us to live here with a clear understanding of home cybersecurity, what it means, a toolkit of apps and practices that will help us safeguard ourselves and our loved ones, being our children, other people that live with us, safeguard the entire home. That's the goal. If I should go through everything I put down here, there's a very long stuff I put here. I wanted to help us understand how the word cybersecurity came. Anyway, the word cyber literally means relating to characteristics of the culture of computers, information technology, and virtual reality. That's the word cyber. Now we know what the word security means. Security comes from the Latin word securitas, meaning freedom from care or anxiety. It evolved from the combination of C, without, and cure, care. The concept of security then transitioned into the modern understanding of protection from harm and safety. Cybersecurity, as a word, as a concept, is the application of technologies, processes, and controls to protect systems, networks, programs, devices, and data from cyber attack. Privacy, on the other hand, is a state in which one is not observed or disturbed by others. That's the literal meaning. Now, when it comes to cybersecurity, data privacy is the protection of personal data from those who should not have access to it, and the ability of individuals to determine who can access their personal information and who can't. Now, like our host mentioned a little while ago, it is true that people would spy access your phones and your devices. It is true. While that is true, technology has come of age already that the vendors, legislations will not allow it. People can't just do it. That is the truth. If they could do it, we'll be in trouble. Because a lot of homes these days, I mean, we do smart homes. So a lot of homes these days ask us for, I want Alexa speaker, I want Alexa, I want Alexa that. Now, have you asked yourself a question? You just, all of a sudden, you just say, Alexa, do this for me. Alexa immediately responds and does it. So Alexa is listening. It's permanently listening. That's what it means. So all you have been saying is it has been looking for Alexa. That Alexa string that will trigger an action. So it's been listening. So you cannot say it's not listening. So if it's been listening, that means all the things that you say, all the things that you don't want other people to hear, Alexa has been hearing it. Then why are we not in trouble? We're not in trouble because there are very serious legislation that have been put in place that stops all this big because of everything. There will put things in place to ensure that you take it the wrong path. It's the same thing. We should not really worry. That's why I started by saying that the story I said from the beginning. A typical parent might want to just no, throw the device away. I don't want the device attention. No, that's not the move. At the end of the day, they will eventually use the devices. They will go to school, they have friends, they will use the devices. So it's not to instill fear or kind of encourage fear. It's to let you know or let us know that it's actually possible to try in this online world and make the most out of it. Now, in cybersecurity, we have different types. I said I put a lot of notes here. Network security, practice of securing a computer network from intruders, whether targeted attackers or opportunistic malware. Now, in the case of the first story I said originally, we were inclined to believing that that child was targeted. But it might not be correct. It could be that it's an algorithm that fits a profile. A young child, I'm sure that if that story is 100% true, that means retinal scan must have been involved. So maybe it was a iOS device. At the time, I'm not sure the answer was correct. So that means it knew still images from live images. So what that means is that it profiled the child, realized it's a human, and it's a child, and gave the content. That's what it did. So it didn't necessarily target that child. It targeted a certain group of people. So that's why this one just said opportunistic. Now, I'll come to that a little later. But we actually suffered something like that recently. The office. There's the application security, which focuses on keeping software and devices free of threats. A compromised application would provide access to the data it's designed to protect. Successful security begins in the design stage, well before a program or a device is deployed. Technical. So we're talking about the development of application. How at that stage, we need to ensure that it is safe. That's what it's talking about. Then information security, how information flows from point A to point B, it needs to be secure. Because at the end of the day, when the Wi-Fi environment connects to a router, that's what happens. For us, I don't know how it works. There's a router. When you see, let's call it this event now. That's the name of the Wi-Fi, right? When you scan it, you see it. Now, that's coming from the router. Now, between that router and your device, there's communication, there's a transfer of data. So you are exposed during that transfer. So that's where information security comes. Put things in place such that you can safely move data from point A to point B without it being hijacked. That is what information security means. Then there's operational security, which we all kind of know. That's when it comes to access controls, cameras, where they need to be, things like that. That's operational security. Now, let me just move on quickly. Digital footprint of a modern family. is a massive database of information. The database is populating every second. As we are here now, more information is getting on the database. By computer systems fundamental design, everything is logged and has an audit trail. When members of the family use these in the internet, they leave trails, and these trails over time form patterns. The digital footprint of a modern family encompasses all the data and interactions left behind by family members when using digital devices and online services. This includes social media posts, online purchases, website visits, emails, and more. The digital footprint can reveal the family's online activities, interests, and even personal information, making it important to understand and manage. The key aspects of a family's digital footprint. Families use various digital platforms, including social media, messaging apps, online shopping sites, streaming services, and more, leaving behind a trail of data. Personal information. Sharing photos, videos, and personal details on social media and other online platforms can contribute to a comprehensive digital footprint. In other words, they can make up your life. So there are a lot of us that just like to put a lot of things online. I think it's for some people it excites them, it gives them that excitement. While it does that, it has its downside. Online interaction, purchases, websites, visits, online searches, and other interactions with digital services that leave traces digital footprint. Potential risks. The family's digital footprint can be vulnerable to cyber attacks, privacy breaches, and the misuse of personal information. Importance of management. Now, understanding the scope and potential risk of a family's digital footprint is crucial to managing online privacy and security. Examples of digital footprint elements in the family setting. A child social media post showcasing their interests and activities. A parent's online shopping habits and purchases. A family use of streaming services and online entertainment platforms. Emails and communication exchanges between family members online. Location data shared through apps and devices. Managing digital footprint. Privacy settings. We are required to or advised to adjust privacy settings on social media and other online platforms to limit the visibility of personal information. Strong passwords. Use unique and strong passwords for all online accounts. Now, this is where a lot of people kind of misplace it. Why I say misplace is that for just convenience, prefer it to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6, or their year of birth, or something like that. Can you go to the supermarket? You want to buy a padlock for your gate or your house, and you now go to the supermarket and buy a padlock that has a square key. So it's just a square key, no designs, no unusual contours on it. Will you do that? You will spend a little more when they tell you that this padlock is unique, is strong, the key cannot be forged. You will spend more money to do that. That is how we have played down online and put the offline world like it's the only real world. The online world is as real as the offline world. That is the truth. Because the amount of things that could go wrong when your password, your account is breached, you cannot begin to imagine it now. You might think there's nothing now, is it not me? There's nothing. But when it happens, then you understand that the amount of things that you have done and your representation online, it didn't want it to be breached. So we need to find ways to make our password tougher, more difficult for anybody to hack or break. There are a lot of bots. I'm going to get to that. There are a lot of bots online. I call it bots, botnet. They are opportunistic. All they do is that they just have a cache of password, a million, 2 million, 3 million passwords, and forcing different devices. The one that we enter. Doing all sorts of combinations and just trying to fit devices. So the more difficult it is for them, the more protected you are. Of course, those kind of things, there are layers of security. So before they don't get to where you are and they're forcing you, that means they have broken a lot of layers to get to you. But if you do your own bit by just making your password very, very secure and complicated, it's only you, just learn it. Just learn it, because we did a lot of cramming in school, did what my people like, divide the earth, and all those many things for the science students, the art students, the law, everybody had lots of competencies they dealt with in school, or are still dealing with now if they are still in school. So to just work out the password that it's yours and yours alone, after 2 or 3 days you have learned it, do not now be a big deal. Work out a very good password. If the application has 2FA, two-factor authentication, the one that will manage to send you an email or send you token, please embrace it. Just do it. Because every day we lock our homes, lock our front door every day. You now get tired I'm tired of locking my front door. Let me stop locking my front door. No. So you cannot get tired of passwording. Because it's just that one day you don't lock your front door, or you along it, maybe something happened. That is the day somebody will try to compromise the location. So that's why we need to take it very serious. I will still continue to insist that we should liken the online world to the offline world. The same amount of seriousness that we give the offline world, we should give to the online world. But now times it like 1,000 in terms of its capacity. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a serious matter. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a lot of things. These types of cybersecurity. Okay, let me finish managing digital footprint. Be mindful of what's shared. Carefully consider that what information is shared online and the potential consequence. And don't forget, once you share online, it's there forever. There forever. There's no it could be deleted. There's no deleting. It's there forever. So just have that in your mind. Then regularly review and update settings. Stay informed about privacy settings and make adjustments. Types of cybersecurity threats. The global cyber threats continue to evolve at a rapid rate, with a rising number of data breaches each year. A report by Risk-Based Security revealed that the shocking 7.6 billion record has been exposed by data breaches in the first 9 months of 2019 alone. Medical services, retailers, and public entities experience the most breaches, with malicious criminals responsible for most incidents. Some of these sectors are more appealing to cyber criminals because they collect financial and medical data, but all businesses that use networks can be targeted for customer data, corporate espionage, or consumer attacks. With the scale of the cyber threats set to continue to rise, global spending on cybersecurity solutions is naturally increasing. Gartner predicts cybersecurity spending will reach $188.3 billion as of 2023 and surpass $260 billion globally by 2026. Governments across the globe have responded to the rising cyber threats with guidance to help organizations implement effective cybersecurity policies. Different kinds of threats. We have cyber crime, cyber attack, cyber terrorism. Cyber crime involves financial gain. That's what it means, cyber crime. Then cyber attack, politically motivated, gather information based on politics. Then cyber terrorism is intended to undermine electronic systems to cause panic and fear. Malware, which is the one that I'm going to talk more, but those other ones, high level, the one that concerns us in our homes is malware, viruses, trojans, spyware, ransomware, adware, botnets. Now, these are all different kinds of malicious programs that compromise our devices and our systems. Now, has anybody watched the film Troy? Troy, okay. I'm just going to give you an idea of what, that's how they got the name Trojan. Now, they'll say the war being sieged against the city Troy on the Greeks. The Greek king, that was in 1200, 1300 BC, long time ago. Now, the king then, his name was Odysseus. They tried, just imagine, for 10 years, they continued to try to lay siege. They had high walls. Troy was fortified. 10 years, 10-1-0. They continued, armies continued. They were living there, dying, printing, they couldn't enter. What kind of problem is this one? So, Odysseus now brought up a smart idea. They now built a horse, a big, massive wooden horse, and laced it with most of their strongest warriors, a few of them, and left it at the gate of the city, Troy, at the entrance. And they pretended in their ships to sail back. So, of course, the Trojans were looking at them, oh, okay, these people are finally giving up, and they left with a gift for us. That's why they left. So, they opened their gate and wheeled the gift into Troy. That was their undoing, because they just actually wheeled in the enemy. This is a style cyber attackers use. Of course, at the cover of the night, they came out from the horse, opened the gates, the army had turned back, entered the city, took over the city with the hand and guns down the city. So this is what they do, Trojans. We all have come across Trojans already. If you have been checking emails, you definitely have come across Trojans. Now, a lot of times, Yahoo, Gmail, and Co. try to protect you, put some level of security for you, but you still need to be wary, because if you intentionally continue to progress with the Trojan email, let's say send you an email saying one thing, award this or the not win this or not admission or some award or something like that, and you intentionally continue to progress with that email, and it downloads and installs itself. Now, you see, understand how the Trojan is. It's telling you something good, but it's laced with something evil. Then it enters the system and begins to cause havoc, all sorts of havoc. You don't want that. You have to be careful when you open emails. It happened to me. It was yesterday or day before yesterday. I think it was yesterday. I was like, I see people are going to talk about cybersecurity. That's why these things just happened to me. I was just going through. I saw an email from Amazon.com that my account was going to go up on the 16th. And that's yesterday now. Yeah, on the 16th, that I need to update my payment setting. Amazon.com. It's no problem. I just clicked it. As I clicked it, when antivirus is working, you just want red just come up on your screen, and the virus just think that this is the malicious script. And everything is, how could I make this mistake? The normal thing you're supposed to have done is to go to the email address. Just cover your mouse. Please do this thing I'm telling you. It will save you. Not can, it will save you. Just go hover your mouse over the email address and check the sender. Now, I can send you an email and say, I'm from Edo State government, I'm from Donald Trump, I'm from wherever I want to present myself to be. All I need to do is that, let's say the name is abc at xyz.com, right? I can go to the email site and the name I want for that to show, I will just put it there and save it. When I send you the email, you're not going to be saying xyz.com. That's what we're going to be saying. What you'll be saying is the email that I put there. So I can put anybody's name. The other thing I need to do is to design the email to look like that person's email. Maybe it's a bank or it's Amazon in this case. So that when it comes to you, you say, oh, this is an Amazon email. Or this is a bank email. And you click on it. Once you click on it, and you don't have the right protection, you get the Trojan or the malware, whatever it is, installed on your system. A lot of times, you might not have a lot of things, but you are plugged to a network that the other computers, and you begin to infect. You now become a bot they use to infect others. So let's be careful. For us, it happened 2 weeks ago. For one of our NOC guys right here, our accounting, the system that hosted our accounting application, we have a lot of security things and everything. But they use a protocol, SMB, to get in and encrypted our database of years of accounting information. When the accounting lady was trying to access complete what's going on here, I took out time to check to notice that they actually left us a message. I said we should pay, I think it was $400. We paid $400 before we get. So these things actually happening is real. For us, we have backups. So our backups are a bit older, so we can actually get back on track with some work and we'll get back on track. But if there was something more sensitive, you will be begging them to do $1,000 just to get your way back. So this thing that I'm talking about, so it's real. It's not a joke, it's real. So we need to. Now, in our houses, our kids documents, school information, medical records, banking details, all those things we have them. So we need to take the right steps to ensure these things don't get close to us. And it is easy. Now, let me move on quickly. There are other things like phishing, which is, of course, emails that appear to be from a legitimate company asking for sensitive information. Now, how do cyber criminals target families? Cyber criminals target families by exploiting common digital habits and relationships. They use methods like social engineering to manipulate individuals into revealing personal information, phishing attacks to steal credentials, and malware distribution to compromise devices. Additionally, they may target specific family members based on personal connection or the family's online activity. Now, social engineering. Social engineering is a bit deeper because it means that it's targeted. So they actually know you and they're trying to get something from you. So they usually spend a long time trying to gain your trust, send messages. After a while, you now trust them and begin to reveal. Once they get what they want, immediately they cut off your reputation and begin to unleash mayhem. That's social engineering. So it's based on socialism. They have to socialize to be able to get their way. They exploit vulnerabilities. So if there are vulnerabilities in your network, in your phone, your laptop, You have a laptop you're using, does it have an antivirus, or your Bit Defender, which is for Microsoft, is it working well? All those are vulnerabilities. Or you have an old operating system that you've never updated. Unlicensed software, those are vulnerabilities. From there, they can come in and attack. Fake emails and messages, compromised websites, lots of them are there. Compromised websites, go to websites that when you're getting to the website, you can clearly see that there's a problem. But a lot of things are popping up here and there, left, right, center. The best is just close and leave. There's nothing you have to do for there. Because there's one thing we click that will give you problems. Malicious software. Criminals distribute malicious software, malware, through various channels like email attachments, fake websites, or compromised devices. Once installed, malware can steal personal information, track online activity, or give criminals remote access to devices. Digital parenting. Digital parenting focuses on equipping children with online safety skills and promoting healthy digital habits. Supervision techniques. Supervision techniques include open communication, as our sister just said, monitoring online activity, and setting boundaries. Children's safe online behaviors involve learning about digital footprints, online etiquette, and appropriate content consumption. There's not as important as open communication. Because if your child can talk to you and you can talk to your child freely, you will know. I'm a father, you will know if you can talk to your child freely. And you will know that's the truth. You will know that I'm not going to get across with this child. You will know when this child is free with me. This child will tell me anything. You need to walk your way to that position. A friend of mine always tells me, he says that there's a certain time where you try to build that. When they are young, before they become teenagers. Because when they become teenagers, it's a battle between you and their peers. So you need to do your homework from the very beginning. So that is just, I apply, but I believe to a large extent it's true. Supervision techniques. So, open communication, encourage children to talk about their online experiences and any concerns that they might have. Monitoring online activity. Supervise children's online use, including websites visited and apps used to ensure age appropriateness. Setting clear guidelines. Establish rules and boundaries for screen time, device usage, and online behavior. Spending time together online. Make online time a family activity, such as playing games and watching videos together. Me, I'm trying to learn Fortnite because of my children. Because you find out that if somebody play, so once you just get to their world, that's part of them. So just imagine that you have that's the sacrifice you have to make. If you need to learn, just learn. Don't forget that you are more logical, you're more mature. So when you actually do that, you will see things. You can just put things out there that is wrong and dangerous, and use that information later and start to talk to your child. But you have to go inside first. You cannot say, it's just children. No, it's not just children. Go there and still see what they're saying. It's not like they're inviting you. Because it's possible that you come around and they will leave where you are. That means at that time they are already qualified. So we need to try to, as much as possible, do this